Welcome back. Our guest today is Renae Rountree, Director of the Washington County Public Library. I'm here to eat a healthy serving of humble pie. Many years ago I said that the library was a dinosaur, that it was fading away, that much like the newspaper, it would be gone pretty soon. Never have I been more wrong. I'm wrong a lot. This is one of the big ones. Our library system, as we just recently found out, offers some just very awesome opportunities, digitally specifically, but in all other formats as well, for you to learn, to enjoy, to have some recreation. The library is where it's happening. We're going to talk about all this and more with Renae when we come back, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to Real Florida Magazine.
Welcome back. Here today, as mentioned, our guest is Renae Rountree, Director of the Washington County Public Library. Thanks for taking the time and for stopping by today.
Thank you, Paul. I'm delighted to be here.
You know, a couple weeks ago, my wife, actually several weeks ago, my wife went to the library. She came home and she was all excited. She said, you know that Kindle I got you a couple years ago for Christmas? And you had some books and you read them all and you thought now that we're going to have to throw away the Kindle. Well, guess what? Now you can download for free from the public library lots of books, fiction, nonfiction. Let's start at the beginning. Did I misspeak when I say you are the director of the public library system?
I am. However, Washington County participates in a 4-county cooperative, which allows us to provide more services than we would by ourselves. So it's also Calhoun, Jackson, and Holmes County as well. So you can check out and return library books and use all of the services in all of those 4 counties, whether or not you actually live in your specific county. So for instance, if you're conveniently live in Chipley, but you happen to be in Mariana and you have your library book and you don't want to get an overdue fee, you could just conveniently return it back to Mariana and they would make sure that it made it back to Chipley very easily.
So you guys are a cooperative, and obviously in these days of high gas prices and fiscal challenges, that's great. Somebody in Bonifay can return a Mariana book in Chipley or wherever.
Right. So even though Washington County is only around 25,000 people, we actually serve a population around 109,000.
Wow. I started off by saying that I'm here today to eat a large portion of humble pie. And to everybody that I've offended over the years, well, not everybody, but in this case about the library system specifically, for years, Renae, I was saying the library system is outdated, it's outmoded, it's going to go away, nobody's reading books anymore. Number one, I was totally wrong about reading physical hardcover books. But what I'm talking about today in digital is the digital media that you guys offer for free on top of everything else. Let's back up, start at the beginning. And understanding that those 4 counties cooperate as one entity, in this case, Washington County Library. When we have fiscal heartburn, when we have fiscal challenges, poop runs downhill, as they say, and everybody gets cut. For a while there, especially when Ms. Norton was the director over there, you guys looked like that you may be having to shut the doors. I know you cut back hours.
Oh, yes.
It looks like it's gotten a little bit better. Talk about that part of it first.
Well, I think that libraries are unique in that no matter how hard things get financially, they never actually cut back on services. Actually, they continue to offer more and more and more, even sometimes at the luxury of staff. They are much more likely to, go ahead and, be short-staffed if it means that they're going to be able to offer the necessary materials that your citizens need. Things have been kind of bad for us. The recession hit us very, very hard. We're only just now seeing an increase in hours again at some of our branch locations. We've worked on that for the last 2 years. We would love to offer better hours on, like a later evening hours in Chipley. Lots of locations would love to have a Saturday again, but You know, you have to be able to pay the electricity bill. You know, you have to be able to have that person. You have to be able to afford to even do something as simple as turn on 20 computers in a facility. So, and that can sometimes be a challenge that people don't understand.
You guys have zigged when others have zagged. You've gone when you've been faced with a challenge. You've figured out a way around it. In this case, and specifically, what got my attention was your electronic media.
Oh yes.
So that regardless of what your hours are, I, as a consumer of your electronic media, whether it's ebooks or research material or whatever, and we'll talk about that in a second, I can access all of your services 24/7 with no thought to. As a matter of fact, you mentioned that you see some people once when they get their library card and never see them again. Again, I'm getting way ahead of myself because I am kind of excited. Let's start at the beginning. Talk about what you offer at the public library.
Well, our first major digital offering that we had happened about 4 years ago. There's something that the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which is the federal arm of libraries, provides when it comes to funding, and that's called LSTA funding, and that is Library Services and Technology Act funding. So there was a cooperative within the state of Florida that was looking to provide ebooks for rural libraries. So the person wrote this grant asking IMLS, what it's affectionately Institute of Museum and Library Services is affectionately called, asking for funding to have ebooks for these rural libraries, because otherwise they would never be able to afford the startup costs involved. Mr. Ward sent out a mass email across the state to libraries who had under 50,000 population, and basically we hopped on board and we said, well, we'd love to do it. We know we can't afford to offer it. You know, if the grant comes through, that'd be great. And so it was born just like that. And here we are several years later. We have a collection of 6,000 ebooks. There are 11 participating libraries. You know, Washington County is one of them, but then you have somebody like Flagler County, all the way on the East Coast. And then we even have Swanee River. There's all kinds of groups that are participating, but it's small libraries who would never be able to afford the opportunity to provide ebooks. So we started with ebooks, and then we realized that's just not enough, you know, because you want to provide as many digital services as possible, because you provide as many print services as possible. So we offer, you know, physical books and physical audio. Why wouldn't we offer digital books and digital audio? Recent statistics have stated that around 60+% of the people that live in Washington County actually don't work in Washington County. So they spend a lot of their time commuting. We've spent the last several years beefing up our physical collection of audio, and then we realized we should be beefing up our collection of e-audio. So right now we probably have around 5,000, 6,000 e-audio that are downloadable. It's very simple. They sign up, you download the app on your phone or your tablet. You can plug it into your audio jack in your car. You can listen to an audiobook as you travel back and forth to work, or, you know, maybe you're a postal carrier, or maybe you drive a school bus, or, you know, you're a truck driver. People love the ability to listen to books on the road, and why not do it free through your library?
So when we talk about digital media, you have the ability for somebody to come into the physical library, pick up a DVD, pick up an audio tape or CD or whatever the medium happens to be. But then you also, again, offer that online access to all of those things. Once we found out about the ebooks, I read a book every couple of days, and I usually wake up at 3 in the morning and read for a couple of hours or whatever. I read at kind of odd times. And so when I got my Kindle, that was great because I don't wake my wife up. I don't have to turn the bedroom light on to be able to read a hardcover book. But when I started downloading from the library some of these e-titles, I actually go through Amazon to actually download the book. And I started looking at the cost of these books. I mean, $18, $20, $25 in some cases. And I'm getting these totally for free.
Oh, yeah.
And were I to buy that book, once I read it, I'd probably just give it away anyway, so it's sort of a disposable medium. I must have been sleeping when this big transition to ebooks happened. I pride myself on being somewhat technologically savvy, but that was just not one of those things that was on my radar. The school system, Department of Education in the state of Florida, in this case, in which we find ourselves, requires all testing to be done online. Mm-hmm. Much adult education is also available through e-universities and e-schools online. Backing up a minute to what you said, 20 computer consoles in the library. When I go into the library, and I came in not long ago to speak to you about some of this stuff and make the appointment to do this show, those computers are always filled. Those seats are always filled. You've got people in there all the time online. And when I first saw that, I presumed, hey, they're on Facebook, they're messing around, they're doing something, they're playing. These people were in there studying. They were going to these taking e-classes, taking testing. Talk a little bit about that availability.
Well, one of the things that if you live in Washington County any period of time whatsoever, you realize that internet can be a complicated endeavor to acquire.
Politically correct way of saying that.
Unfortunately, also it can be a little bit of a luxury item. Assuming that you live in a location where you can get halfway decent internet, it can be very cost prohibitive. But there are a million and one things that you have to do online nowadays. Even if you are filling out a job application for McDonald's, if you want your pay stub from Walmart and your W-2, all of those are all online now because companies have cut back on those paper costs. And if you don't have internet or you don't have access to a computer, then the public library is your best bet. You come in, you can sit down, do whatever you need to do. We have students that we we do test proctoring for, from like Gulf Coast Community College for online classes. Sometimes we have them even as far away as Tallahassee Community College. I'm a perfect example of online learning. I did my entire master's degree online through Florida State University for library and information science. And there were days that I was working at the library and I would leave early and I was headed home to use the internet, and my internet was really slow, and I would pack back up and I would come back to work so that I could attend online class. So it really comes to be a lifesaver for people. If you need to do any type of e-government assistance now, even signing up for Social Security is done online. So testing for GED, unemployment, if you need food stamps, there's a million and one things. The IRS requires you to file your taxes online. I would like to say that I probably dread tax time more than anybody in the world because I know I'm not going to have enough computers for everybody that needs to come in and do taxes. But you do the best that you can, and you offer the services that your community requires. And the simple fact of the matter is, most people don't realize what we're doing until they actually need us. So, and then they're like, wow, you offer this, you offer that. They're surprised that they come into the library and they see that there's DVDs. Well, there's no movie theater in Washington County. They're surprised that we have all of these children's programs. And I'm like, well, there's not really a Boys and Girls Club or a YMCA. There's sports, but that's not everything. We partner with whoever we need to. We're very blessed that we've partnered with Julie Dillard with the 4-H Club, and we actually offer a Lego robotics club for kids, and they love it. Twice a month they can come in and have a good time and learn some important computer skills. and just, enjoy the library. And they leave after the class and then they stream into the library and they check out books at the same time. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Were I to be in charge of marketing the library, I would simply direct people to at least step foot in the door one time.
Oh, yes.
Just to get exposed to actually physically see the availability of this stuff. In the case of doing your taxes, the message here is that come in early.
Oh, yes.
And if you want to use the library resources, that's a good problem to have. And I would imagine your load on these services dictates which ones get enhanced over time. You mentioned an interesting thing to us at the Kiwanis Club about the ebooks, and that if certain number of people put a hold or reserved a ebook that was out, that you automatically ordered another copy of that because the machine recognized the fact that there was a demand. Talk about that.
Yes, and it's amazing, really. The vendors understand what a public library needs. We are very good at expressing how we need a system to run. And vendors have responded to that, specifically Overdrive, which is our vendor for our ebooks. And the nice thing is, you set a limit, say, hey, you know what, you have 5 or 6 people on hold. You know what, let's go ahead and automatically buy a new copy. And, then the average wait time for an ebook right now is 15 days, which is extraordinary considering there are 11 libraries using it. I mean, we're talking about, I don't even know how many people it is that are being served. It has to be close to 350,000 people across the state that are using this one service. But you would never know it. The turnaround is faster. And sometimes people, they're like, well, I just want to read the new John Grisham. I don't care how I get it. I'll take it in regular print or I'll take it in ebook, and they put themselves on hold for both of it, and sometimes the print copy comes first, sometimes the ebook copy comes first. The online system even automatically downloads it once it becomes available for you. It tells you where you are in line. It tells you like if you're number 3 of 5 people on the hold list. You can do all kinds of things. And the really nice thing is on a user side is the more that you use the Overdrive system, the more that it will recognize what you like to read. So if you like to read David Baldacci, then it will recommend more David Baldacci that are in the system. Or it will recommend another like political thriller type person. So it's similar to Amazon, Everybody has been spoiled by Amazon's system or whatever. But, you can do the same thing with our Overdrive system for free. You're not paying anything, And the nice part about Overdrive is that it's not just limited to Amazon devices. We buy books in 3 different file formats, which means it works on Nooks, it works on Kindles, it works on smartphones, it works on tablets. We have a variety of devices that can be used to access it. So you're never limited by what is available.